Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yudapadakam Guru Vaishnavam Stagatam Sajivam Parijana Sahibam
Krishna Chaitanya Dev Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri
Kamvitam Shah Krishna Radha Pranama Hari Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna
Hare
Hare Krishna, thank you very much for the Manglacharan. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandvat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. How are you?
Please accept our humble obeisances on behalf of myself and everybody in this group, Prabhuji. And Prabhuji, there'll be more people joining in. So please accept their humble obeisances as well. Thank
Please
you. So
accept
good
mine.
to see you. So good to see you on Zoom. Virtually, in spite of you being in Kenya, we couldn't meet, which is so sad.
Just my luck to come to Kenya and you went to India.
I tell you, Prabhuji, that was really sad. Anyway, so it gives me great pleasure to introduce you to this group. Prabhuji, it's an ongoing group and we are reading the Bhagavad Gita as it is. We are on chapter 18. Chapter 18 is called The Perfection of Renunciation, Prabhuji. And today we are on text 54. So, Prabhuji, can I hand over to you or you would like us to read the text and translation and purport?
Yeah, you can read the text translation purport. That would be nice. And then we can carry on from there.
Okay. Could I request Shashwin to read the text and then translation? Panchali, is it possible for you to read the translation or are you in the car?
No, I can do that, Mataji. Sorry, I'm just coming off my laptop. So if you tell me the text again, once again, please.
Okay, and then Soni Mataji, is it possible for you to read the purport? Do you have?
Yes, Mataji, I'll read the purport. Yeah.
So without stopping, we just do the shloka translation and purport, yeah, and so that Prabhuji has more time with us.
Can you tell me the verse again, please? Chapter 18.
54. Chapter 8, text 54.
Chapter 18.
Yes, 1-8.
Yes, 54. Yeah. Thank you, Mataji.
Okay, Shashwin, let's start with her.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma न शोचति न काञ्चति समसर्वेषु भूतेषु मद्भक्तिं लभते परम् हरे
Hare Krishna. One who is thus transcendentally situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires to have anything. He is equally disposed towards every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Papat, Bashla Prabhupada ki jai. To the impersonalist, achieving the Brahma Bhuta stage, becoming one with the Absolute, is the last word. But for the personalist or pure devotee, one has to go still further to become engaged in pure devotional service. This means that one who is engaged in pure devotional service to the Supreme Lord is already in a state of liberation called Brahma Bhuta, oneness with the Absolute. Without being one with the Supreme, the Absolute, one cannot render service unto him in the Absolute, into him, sorry. In the Absolute conception, there is no difference between the served and the servitor, yet the distinction is there in a higher spiritual sense. In the material concept of life, when one works for the sense gratification, there is misery. But in the absolute world, when one is engaged in pure devotional service, there is no misery. The devotee in Krishna consciousness has nothing for which to lament or desire. Since God is full, a living entity is engaged in God's service in Krishna consciousness, becomes also full in himself. He is just like a river cleansed of all dirty water. Because a pure devotee has no thought other than Krishna. He is naturally always joyful. He does not lament for any material loss or aspire for gain, because he is full in the service of the Lord. He has no desire for material enjoyment, because he knows that every living entity is a fragmental part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, and therefore eternally a servant. He does not see in the material world someone as higher and someone as lower. Higher and lower positions are ephemeral, and a devotee has nothing to do with ephemeral appearance or disappearances. For him, stone and gold are of equal value. This is the Brahma Bhuta stage, and this stage is attained very easily by the pure devotee. In that stage of existence, the idea of becoming one with the Supreme Brahman and annihilating one's individuality becomes hellish. The idea of attaining the heavenly kingdom becomes phantasmagoria, and the senses are like serpents whose poison teeth are broken. And there is no fear of a serpent when with broken teeth. There is no fear from the senses when they are automatically controlled. The world is miserable for the mentally or for the materially infected person. But for a devotee, the entire world is as good as Vaikuntha or the spiritual sky. The highest personality in this material universe is no more significant than an ant for a devotee. Such a stage can be achieved by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, who preached pure devotional service in this age. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much, Soni Mataji. I'd like to acknowledge the presence of Rosie Philomena, who has joined our group for the first time, and Saurabha Suman. Hare Krishna, and thank you very much for joining this group. We meet every day at the same time, same link. So kindly, if possible, please join again. I hand over now to Prabhuji, Kanchanajba Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Sashwin and Panchali, and Soni Mataji for reading the Sanskrit, the translation, and the purport. I feel very happy to be with all of you again after such a long time, and being able to share something on this most wonderful conversation between Krishna and Arjun. This is the climax. This is the end, the last few texts. So not many more days, maybe about a month, less than a month to go before the Bhagavad Gita is over. What's the plan afterwards, Kirtika Mataji? Srimad Bhagavatam. Wow, okay. So this will keep us going until we leave our body. Great.
We were just discussing it, and that's why I have it in, because I think we are now so addicted this time between 8 and 9 that we can't dream of stopping it. So let's go into something that
They
is
need
so
to
long.
sleep. Yeah,
We just
you know, in London, we've been running a Sangha since 2016. It's been 5.5 years. We started with Bhagavad Gita, chapter 1, text 1. And it's just once a week. So yours is every day. So ours is once a week. And we discuss a few texts every week. And we are now on, I'll tell you, we are now on 1863 or something. So we're also just about to end after 5 or 6 years. And we're going to start the Bhagavatam. And we were saying that that's it. At least we have something that will now take us till death.
yes.
Which is great, because if we can absorb the Shastra till the very last breath, then we have a chance of going back home, back to Godhead. And life is too short, actually. So being absorbed in the Shastra is so important, and it's so nice that all of you gather every single day at the same time to discuss the scriptures. It's so inspiring, and I feel very honored to be able to join you now and again. And yeah, so here Krishna in 1854, he's saying, na sochati na kankshati. He never laments or desires to have anything. And that's where we want to be. We want to be in a place where we don't lament what we don't have and desire things. Or should we say, we don't want to lament losing what we do have and desire things that we don't have. And if we can get to that place, then we're very peaceful. We can be very peaceful if we don't desire unwanted things, and if we're not worried about losing. And life is too short. It's really too short. Just now, actually, so here it's 5 o'clock in London. I've just come from a funeral home at 2 o'clock. One of my friend's father passed away a few days ago, and my friend asked me if I could come with him while he dressed his father's body. And so I said, yeah, sure, I can come. And we were just chanting the holy names while he was dressing his father's body. And I was just there observing and chanting Hare Krishna. And I was just looking and thinking, wow, this body is just a machine. You know, the body is just a machine, and the body looks like a normal body, like my body. This Prabhuji's body looked just like mine. The only difference, in one sense, is that there was no soul. And when there's no soul, the body is useless. Krishna says that we give up the old and useless bodies and then take on new bodies, just like we give up old and useful clothes, old and useless clothes, and take on and wear new clothes when our old clothes are useless. So I was there and I was thinking, wow, life is too short. Life is too short, and at any moment the soul can leave the body, and at any moment we've got to give up everything that we've been hankering for in this material world. And here Krishna is saying, na sochati na kankshati. He never laments or desires to have anything. So if we're transcendentally situated, we don't lament what we lose. We don't desire what we don't have. It's such a profound platform to be on, to be able to not lament and to not have such desires. So what is this lamentation? This lamentation is usually because when we achieve something or when we have something in this material world, we become so attached to it because we forget that it's not permanent. So for example, we could get involved in a relationship and that relationship may not work out, and then we lament. And we've seen so many people get into so much mental anxiety, so much depression when they're lamenting the loss. And it's not even the death, it's just the fact that the relationship doesn't work out. But that feeling of loss, that anxiety that comes with it, this is lamentation. And we also can see that those who are single longer than they want to be single, and they're desiring to have a partner, and again, that same kind of anxiety, that same sort of feeling, that desire of wanting something. So this is just one example. This can be with many things. It could be the person who's lost a job and the person who wants a job, the person who's lost a partner, the person who wants a partner. But this sochati and kankshati, this lamentation and kankshati, this desire, this is actually the biggest reason there's so much mental health problems in the world today, sochati and kankshati. When you go to your first economics class, anyone studied economics before? Anyone? Mansi Ganga Mataji, is that you? So when we study,
Subsidiary, yeah.
sorry?
As a subsidiary subject, not main.
Okay, so you studied it, and you're still young, so it must have just been a few years ago.
Yeah,
So,
so we Rosie, Mataji and Divyesh Prabhuji, they all did economics, and
oh, right,
I
Divyesh
had a
Prabhu,
subject in school. I had a subject economics.
you did
So,
as well, Kritika Mataji. Okay, so Divyesh Prabhu, Rosie Mataji, would one of you like to share what you learnt when you first went to your first economics class? Anyone remember? In your first economics class, the first one, what did they talk about? Divyesh Prabhu?
Demand, Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Demand and supply.
They talked about demand and supply. Okay, so this is very interesting, isn't it? This is very interesting. And ultimately, what's the problem? We have lots of demands and not enough supply.
Exactly.
So this is the thing. We have so many desires, so many demands, but all these demands cannot be supplied. Okay, this is
And
one problem. Yes,
the
Divyesh
law
Prabhu?
returns.
Law of diminishing returns. Yes, exactly. Yes, so it's all coming back to us. I remember when my first economics class, the teacher said we have unlimited. He talked about scarcity, and he talked about unlimited wants, and not enough resources. We have unlimited wants and not enough resources. So this is the thing. This is the material world. That economics class is the definition of life in the material world. In this material world, we have so many desires and we can't fulfill them. We can't fulfill them. And the problem is, when we think we should be able to fulfill them, we run around like dogs and asses and just run and try, and we just try so hard. We try so hard to achieve these desires. And what happens when we achieve the desire? We have more sochati and more kankshati. Because when we achieve something, if I buy the brand new Tesla, my first issue with the Tesla is I'm going to start panicking if someone scratches it, or if someone steals it. There's so much lamentation. And if I don't have the Tesla, all I'm thinking is I just need a Tesla. So sochati and kankshati is our life in the material world. And as devotees, when we practice bhakti yoga, when we practice developing a divine relationship with Krishna, we can overcome sochati and kankshati. Because what happens, Krishna fills our heart with contentment. Krishna fills our heart with love. And when Krishna fills our heart with love, all we have is love. And what do we do with that love? We want to distribute that love to others. And then there's no sochati and kankshati, because we have no desire for ourselves. The desire is to serve others. And when we're in that frame of mind, what can I do to serve others? What can I do to please others? And not really thinking about what I'll get in return. It's actually very, very peaceful. The mind is very peaceful. The mind only becomes disturbed when we start thinking that I should have received something in return. This is when the mind becomes very disturbed, when I think I should have received something in return. So for example, if like today I went to help my friend, or I went to support my friend, he asked two of us to come with him, and me and another devotee went, and it was very nice in the sense that I mean, obviously it's very sad, but at the same time it's very nice to be with devotees who are trying to help other devotees. And my friend, while he was dressing the body of his father, while he was washing the body of his father, and we were chanting, if my motivation was, I hope I get some, I hope he appreciates me. Let's say that was my desire. I hope he appreciates me. And then let's say he doesn't say thank you to me. He doesn't send me a message later to say thank you. And then I become I lament that why didn't he say something? Why didn't he appreciate me? But actually, if we serve the Vaishnava, if we serve the devotee with the mood to just serve, without wanting anything in return, our heart feels so blissful. It's just such a blissful exchange that actually I want to serve a Vaishnava, and that's it. And that's it. There's nothing attached to it. Whether he thanks me, whether he appreciates me, whether anything happens, I just want to serve the devotee. And that just feels so blissful. And I drove home, and I was thinking to myself how this material world can at any moment throw something at us that we were not expecting. Like my friend who I'm just talking about, it was just 2 or 3 weeks ago, his father got diagnosed with cancer, and within 2 or 3 weeks he's left his body. So there was not much they could do. By the time they diagnosed the cancer, it was at stage 4, and the funeral was on Saturday. You see, so it's such a quick, sudden, from nowhere, should we say, announcement from the material world to his family that this is it, you're going to lose your father. You know, and if we're in this mood, in this material world, to try and get something from it, then we're always going to be struggling with sochati and kankshati. We're always going to struggle. If we serve a devotee, we should serve a devotee in the mood of serving the devotee. Serving the devotee in the mood of pleasing Krishna and pleasing that Vaishnava. And that's it. And that's all we want to do. Whether we get anything from it, whether we get any recognition from it, whether we even get a thank you, none of those things should come into the equation. They might come into the equation in the sense that we might think about these things, but as soon as we can just carry on serving without that motivation. So for example, if we are asked to serve and we are thinking, shall I serve or shall I not serve? Sometimes we need to think about, I mean, does it work? You know, I mean, do we have the time? Do we have the resources? Can it actually, and that's intelligent. We have to intelligently work out whether we can do it or not. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with that. We have to think logistically whether it's possible or not. Okay. So there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with thinking about whether you can do a service, because it has to be, logistically work. Fine. Once we've thought about it, and whilst we're thinking about it, even in our mind, there might be thoughts like, "Ooh, I'll get recognized. Ooh, at least now, if whenever I need this devotee, he'll remember that I did something for him, and I know then I can call him because he'll be there for me." Once all these thoughts come into the mind, if we then act on those thoughts, and the reason we do the service are on these thoughts, then what happens is our service is tainted with sochati and kankshati. Okay, so it's okay, it's still better to do the service than not do the service, but what happens is we don't feel that full transcendental, like it says here, transcendentally situated, Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma. We won't feel transcendently situated because we'll be waiting for something in return. We'll be waiting for a thank you, or we'll be thinking next week when I need him, I can call him, and if that person is not available for us, we won't even understand their situation. We'll start getting angry that they weren't there for us when we were there for them. So it's important that when these thoughts come about, that yes, they may be true, they may not be true. Yes, that person may be there for you when you need them. Yes, that person may appreciate you because you did the service, but ultimately, can we do the service? Can we do the service for the sake of pleasing that devotee in relation to the fact that they are a devotee of Krishna? That's the really important thing. That's the real essence of Vaishnav Seva. Serving that devotee without wanting anything in return. And ultimately, you please, that devotee may not say thank you, but that devotee will be pleased. And the fact that that devotee will be pleased, we will be blessed. And most Vaishnavas will appreciate anyway. But if they forget, it's no problem, because we didn't serve to get the thank you. We didn't serve in that mood to get that recognition, to get that thank you. We serve to please the devotee. And this is where we can really taste the juice or taste the bliss of Krishna consciousness. This is where we can really taste it. Otherwise, what happens whilst we are hankering, sochati and kankshati, when we're serving, when we're not serving, when we're doing something with family, when we're going to our work, when whatever we're doing, if we're in this state of sochati and kankshati, we will never, ever, ever, ever experience the real bliss of Krishna consciousness. And that bliss doesn't have to be us jumping up and down. That bliss can be internal satisfaction. And that's what we want. We want to serve with that internal satisfaction. So when I'm serving a devotee, I'm just serving them for the sake of serving them. I don't need anything in return. And if we served a devotee and they didn't say thank you, or they didn't reciprocate the way I wish they did reciprocate, that's okay, because we serve the devotee to serve the devotee. We serve the devotee to bring them closer to Krishna and to help them in their spiritual life, in their Krishna consciousness. That's it. That's what we're here for. When we serve our children, do we expect our children to say thank you all the time? No, they won't. And if we live like that, we're going to be very miserable parents if we think our children are always going to say thank you to us. And most of the time, the children only point out what we're not good at. You know, Kirtika Mataji is nodding. As they grow older, it becomes like this. And it's normal. I know, because I'm an adult child of a parent, of my grown-up parents, and I do the same with them. I do the same with them. I don't know how often I thank them for all that they've done for me, but I'm very quick to point out when they could have done better. You know, so we can't, and my children, even though they're young, they still do that to me. So this is the thing. We didn't serve our children to get thank yous. We didn't serve our children for distinction. So when we're serving devotees, let's just serve in that mood of pleasing the devotee and pleasing Krishna. This is where we'll find our happiness. This is where we'll find our real essence of Krishna consciousness. And sometimes an appreciation will come, and Krishna will send appreciation to us when he wants that appreciation to come. And devotees will appreciate us, and that's great. And sometimes we won't get appreciation when we really think we should, but that's also okay. That's okay, because inside we know the mood in which we did the service. And when we know inside the mood in which we did the service, then we have got spiritual security. What is spiritual security? spiritual security is we don't need a big J every time we say something or do something. That's us spiritually secure. If we're insecure, that means everything we say or everything we do, we need a big J. Hey, Jay, you did this. Oh, Haribo, you're amazing. Jay, you know, we become, and we're just looking for that. But we know, and it's important that when we are appreciating devotees, when we are appreciating them, we are genuinely appreciating them. Let's not flatter. Let's not make up stuff, or let's not go over the top when it's not true, because that's just another side of aparad in one sense. You know, it's like, where's the essence? Where's our authenticity? So if we are authentic, yes, we can appreciate the devotee, but genuinely think what we appreciate about them. You know, genuinely think, what do we appreciate about them? And then when we authentically appreciate the devotee, that devotee will not only be encouraged, they will believe us and they will trust us. When we are flattered with words that are so, okay, I can give an example. Sometimes devotees may say something to me and I just know that it's like, oh Prabhu, by your mercy. I'm like, and honestly, it's got, and I may have nothing to do with what they're doing, and they say, oh, by your mercy, we've done this, but I didn't even know they were going to, you know. So then I know that actually I'm being flattered, and what happens? It starts feeling uncomfortable, you know. And I can, and we can tell as devotees are very in tune, right? So devotees, we can tell when someone's flattering us and when someone means it. And when someone means it, we reciprocate in a different way to when someone is just trying to flatter us. So what we can do is we can genuinely mean what we say when we appreciate devotees. And how can we do? I'll give you another example. So just this morning I received a text message from one devotee, and that devotee was thanking me because I helped him with a couple of issues last week. So he sent me a nice message this morning. I'm not gonna read out the message. I'm just gonna remind myself what he said. Yeah, here it is. Okay, fine. Yeah, and then when I was replying, I didn't just write a generic message. Oh, Prabhuji, you're so advanced. You're blah blah blah. I didn't write all that. What I wrote is how I actually felt. And then what did that mean? That meant I had to think about how I felt. And I then replied, I genuinely feel uplifted in your association and look forward to many years of serving Srila Prabhupada with you. And I meant that from the bottom of my heart, that I do feel uplifted when I'm in his association, and I really do hope to serve Prabhupada with him for many years to come. So that message that I sent him was a genuine response to his message. When you send a message like that, or when you appreciate a devotee like that, you feel good and that devotee feels good. That's called glorification of a devotee, because we mean it. We don't just say things that we don't mean, especially when it comes to our devotee sangha. Otherwise, how are we any different to networking in the material world to strike a business deal? You just flatter them, you flatter your client is impressed, they give you the deal, and you are rich. You know, and this is what we're trying to do sometimes. We're trying to flatter a devotee, so the devotee likes you, they give you a service, or they give you some recognition, and boom, and then it's done. The deal is done. But we're not here to strike deals. We're here to love Krishna. And we're here to love Krishna by loving, and also by loving each other. And we can only do that if we genuinely mean what we say. And then what happens when it comes to sochati and kankshati? These things become eradicated because we're getting a genuine fulfillment in reciprocation with the Vaishnavas. It's genuine, we can feel it, because what we say to the Vaishnavas is what we mean from the bottom of my heart, and what we receive is what they mean. So we can create a community of authenticity by just saying what we mean, by meaning it. And do you feel it? Like when I say, oh, I feel enlivened in your association, do we feel that? Do we feel that? If we feel that, then say it. If we don't feel that, say something else. But what do we actually feel? Think of something positive, but mean it. And this creates a real genuine mood of Krishna conscious relationships. And Krishna here goes on to say, Sama Sarveshu Bhuteshu, he's equally disposed to every living entity. Mad Bhaktim Labate Param. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me. So if we are at this stage of Nasotati Nakankshati, if we can do Sama Sarveshu Bhuteshu, see every living entity equally, then we can attain pure devotional service. And that's what we're here for. We're here to attain pure devotional service. This is what we want. This is what we signed up for. This is what we signed up for. And then when we practice Krishna consciousness genuinely, authentically, then we can really feel this pure devotional service in the future when we are cleansed of all our anarthas. Prabhupada mentions here in the purport, the highest personality in this material universe is no more significant than an ant for a devotee. So in one sense, what this means is all these people, all these famous people that are so worshipped in this material world, to the devotee, it's neither here nor there. You know, it's not a big deal who this person, oh wow, he's the president, oh wow, he's the prime minister, oh wow, this Hollywood actor, oh wow, this Bollywood actor. You know, the devotee sees that yes, they've got a talent, but this talent comes from Krishna. All these talents that everyone has comes from Krishna. So Krishna's told us that, you know, that he is the splendor. So do we want to be attracted to the spark, or do we want to be attracted to the splendor? All these talents, all these gifts, all these wonderful attractions that people have, they're all a spark of Krishna's splendor. So rather than getting swayed away by the spark, we can become attracted to the splendor. We can become attracted to the person who is behind all of this. We can become attracted to the person from who all these attractions, all these qualities imbibe from. Krishna is desperate for us to come back to him. Krishna really wants us to turn to him. It's up to us to show Krishna that we're serious. And if we make mistakes, remember Krishna is not there to shoot us down because we make mistakes. Just get up and try again. Just like the baby who's learning to walk and they keep falling over, but the baby gets up and the baby keeps walking and the baby keeps trying, and then it falls down and then it gets up and it tries again until eventually the baby can walk. So similarly, when we're in this sadhana bhakti stage, we will make mistakes. But we keep trying, and Krishna sees our endeavor. And what happens, Krishna will then give his mercy, and with his mercy, we'll be able to walk back to Krishna. We'll be able to mad bhaktim labate parim, we'll be able to attain pure devotional service. We've got to just keep trying. It's really important that we keep ourselves mentally healthy, emotionally healthy, physically healthy. All these things play a big part so that we can be spiritually healthy. So we look after all our different, we look after our health in many different ways. If we chant Hare Krishna attentively, sincerely, if we are chanting Hare Krishna with this Sambandha Gyan, understanding our relationship with Krishna whilst we are chanting, knowing we are chanting Hare Krishna, we are chanting to develop that relationship with Krishna, in knowledge of that relationship with Krishna, then what happens? Then Krishna totally takes over our life. He takes over our day. You can see on a day-to-day basis, and we can just start seeing Krishna's hand in everything happening that day. And we have those good days where there is no Sochati and no Kankshati. We feel good, and we can have that day every day if we continue to apply ourselves. So yeah, maybe we can stop here. It's coming up to 8:41 Kenya time. So maybe we can stop here and ask the devotees if they would like to share anything. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for this explanation and simplifying this verse. Are there any questions or comments? While people are thinking, maybe I can ask Mansiganga Mataji, you have unmuted.
I just wanted to comment in the sense I loved his sentence that we all signed up for it to become pure devotees. I love the way he said it. We all signed up for it. But in the middle, I mean, we forget we signed up for becoming pure devotee. I love that comment of his. Vaibhav.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Mataji. We also have other mentors on the group today. Govinda Prem Das, Prabhuji, please accept our humble obeisances. And Kamal Panchal Prabhuji as well is on group today. And Prabhuji has kindly taken the Monday. He'll be associating with us every Monday. So we are very grateful to him, Prabhuji. Thank you and welcome to this group. So Prabhuji, before Sandhya Mataji asks a question, I just wanted to ask about this feeling. So when you do something for a devotee, the feeling that you get is priceless. But I think it should probably stop there, because when you dwell into this feeling, then it becomes egoistic. Oh, I did this for him. I did this for him. So where is the stopping? Or I think you mentioned that you're doing it for Krishna. Is that where the stopping is, or how do we not become egoistic when we help other Vaishnavas?
Nice question. Sakirtika Mataji. Yeah, so when we help devotees, we do feel happy. But then when we dwell on it too much, we start to think, I did it. And then when we start to think, I did it, then it goes away from mode of goodness. It goes to mode of passion. And then the frustration can start. We can get some sort of frustration. That's a symptom of mode of passion is frustration. So how to stop getting into that? I think the key here is to keep doing it. If we start to think about this one thing we did 2 weeks ago for this devotee or 3 weeks ago, and that you want to keep remembering it, and they've only glorified me 7 times, they haven't glorified me 8 times, and we can get like that. Actually, what we can do is just keep finding opportunities to serve devotees. Just keep, just according to our capacity. If we serve according to our capacity, then Krishna is very pleased. And it doesn't mean that you have to serve the same way someone else who's a full-time devotee in the temple serves, because they have more capacity to do direct Vaishnav Seva. So according to our capacity, Krishna sees our capacity. If we stretch ourselves according to our capacity to serve the Vaishnavas, and we continually serving, then there's no time to dwell on what we did last week because we're doing something else today. And there's no time to keep dwelling in the past. So it's just about remaining active, remaining enthusiastic in that service. And if we're starting to feel a little like we're going down the modes, we seek out other opportunities to serve. Because that's like you said, Mataji, that this is where you find the bliss, this is where you find the happiness. So keep getting it, keep going for it. Is that okay?
Yes, Prabhuji. So dwelling on the bliss, the bliss that you get probably would make us do more and more. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sandhya Mataji, kindly unmute and ask your question. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji and all devotees. Prabhuji, you kept saying we should help Vaishnavas and devotees. Is it only Vaishnavas and devotees we should help, or everyone?
Yeah, good question, Sandhya Mataji. Yeah, everyone, definitely everyone. We should help everyone. Yeah, I was saying Vaishnavas because naturally the Vaishnavas are very dear to Krishna. But if whoever helping everyone is what we're here for. The highest human welfare work we can do is help others. So yes, we should help everyone, and if we can, we should help them in the mood to bring them closer to Krishna. That should be the consciousness, because that's giving them help that will take them beyond this life. And we have to do this intelligently. We use our intelligence, and we think, where are they right now? And we look at the ultimate goal of Krishna consciousness, and we see how can we help them. So sometimes someone is not in a state to read because they're so maybe they're homeless, maybe they haven't eaten for so long. Then we give them prasadam. So we're giving them something to eat, but at the same time, because it's spiritually sanctified food, then they're also getting eternal benefit. If someone is ready to chant the holy name, we can give them the holy name. So yeah, we help everyone, we serve everyone, in the mood to bring them closer to Krishna. And in that sense, if we're serving everyone in the mood to bring them closer to Krishna, we are seeing everyone as Vaishnavas, because we're seeing that Krishna is in the heart of everyone. Is that okay, Sandhya Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you very much. Can I just ask one more question related to the same thing, helping and helping others generally? You said we should do that without any expectation. But Prabhuji, I just want to know how far should we go? Because if we just do it as much as we can just do it casually, without sweat and everything, then it's okay. The expectations don't go high. But if you're going out of your way, I think that expectation of thank you or something bigger than that definitely creeps in, at least with me. So if I'm going out of my way, because they are not my daughter or child. For the daughter, you just have to do it, because no one else will do it. But for others, if you're going out a lot, I think so. I just want to know how far should we go to help? Hare
Yeah,
Krishna.
thank you, Sandhya Mataji. Good question. Yeah, how far should we go? I think we can think of a couple of things. One is we go as far as we look at two things. Am I really helping them? So first thing we've got to ask is, am I really helping them? And the second thing is we have to ask ourselves, is it spiritually progressive for myself? And if they're both in tune and if they're both collaborating well, we go as far as both of those things can take us. So am I really helping them? And is it spiritually progressive for myself? Now, if you're helping if you help them in such a way that it's going to be grudgingly because you're expecting something that you don't get, then maybe it won't be spiritually progressive for yourself. So in terms of how far we should go, yeah, we obviously have a capacity. We try and stretch ourselves according to that capacity. We help. We can't help in such a way that we want something back, or should we say that we might want it? Let's see. I think what I mean by no expectation, Sandhya Mataji, is we may want something back, which is one thing, but if we do it with the expectation of something, then maybe we could even be clear about that at the beginning, and then there's no problem, like, okay, I'm going to help you, but what I'm expecting back is if ever there's a time I need your help, you're going to help me too. And in one sense, at least it's open, and even if it's not unmotivated, at least it's honest, and honesty is a big thing. But if we're gonna say, oh, I'll do this for you, no problem, I don't want anything in return, but deep inside you want something in return, then that expectation will drive us down, will drive us backwards. So I think we have to be very intelligent. And one thing I meant when I said, am I really helping them? Again, we have to intelligently think, am I actually helping this person? So for example, if someone is abusing me, and they ask for some help, and that when I help them, they're going to abuse me more, then maybe I shouldn't help that person, you know, because it's not really helping them. So we really need to think about, am I really helping that person? And two, is it spiritually progressive for myself? And if those two things are there, then it's very, very good for us to extend ourselves to help others. I hope that makes some sense. Is that okay? Yeah, okay.
Muted. You're muted, Sandhya Mataji, but your nod
Oh,
is
sorry. Thank you, Prabhuji. Yes, it was really helpful. And I thought the answer that, is it spiritually progressive for me? On this journey of Krishna consciousness, I'm gradually, this answer is helping me in lots of things. You know, if I'm arguing, then I think, will this argument take me away from the bhakti or the peace? So this answer is helping me in a lot of things, actually. So this was really helpful, Prabhuji. In the end, Prabhuji, if you have a minute, and after there is no more questions, I just wanted to know, what did you chant, you know, in the last, when you were dressing your friend's dad? What do you chant, if you have time,
Hare
Prabhuji?
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. The holy name is so powerful. Koli Kale Nam Rupe, Krishna Avatar. Krishna has descended in Kali Yuga in the form of his holy name. So this Maha Mantra is universal, and just by chanting this Maha Mantra, it is all auspicious and it gives all benefit. We don't need to find anything else.
So you just kept chanting this continually?
Yeah, exactly.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Kamal Prabhuji has a question. Kindly, Prabhuji, unmute and
My
ask
dear
it.
friend Kamal Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Kamal Prabhu is my good friend from London. You're probably just down the road. So nice to see you, Kamal. Hare Krishna. You know the Bhagavad Gita group I was discussing with you, Kirtika Mataji, Kamal Prabhu has been part of that since the beginning, 5-6 years ago when we started. So yeah, it's so good to see you, Prabhu. Haribol. Please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Very good to see you. Thank you so much for the wonderful class. So many pertinent points.
I'm so glad. I just heard you're doing every Monday in this group. Amazing.
With your blessings, Prabhu, and with the blessings of all the devotees, I'll try and facilitate something.
Amazing. Hare Krishna. You still got to come to our Sangha afterwards.
Of course.
Okay.
You know, Krishna gave us two ears and one mouth, so always must be hearing more than we are speaking, isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah. A comment and a question. So I thought it was a wonderful point you made, and it actually follows on a little bit from Sandhya Mataji's question about authenticity. So Sandhya Mataji, even her question was kind of related in the sense that you mentioned, when we're facing difficult circumstances, we have to be authentic with others, be honest, and be authentic with ourselves. So I thought that was a really good point you made during the class about when we're speaking with devotees and not falsely kind of glorifying if we're not really feeling it. Sometimes I find myself doing that, if I'm honest, because I feel the person sometimes is looking for that, or maybe in terms of etiquette, or someone is senior and things like that. Would you be able to talk about how to balance that kind of being authentic with the culture, and what are the possible problems with our Krishna consciousness if we're not authentic?
Yeah, thank you so much, Kamal Prabhu. I think it's something I kind of touched on when we were speaking, which was if yes, there is the etiquette, and someone is senior, or even if someone is looking for it, we can really just reflect and deeply think, and it doesn't always take long. Do I mean what I'm about to say? So even in ethic, even in terms of a senior Vaishnava and etiquette, if let's say they've given a class and you want to appreciate their class, you know, whoever gives a class, we can, if we like you were saying, if we're a good listener, we can always find something, and then we can say, rather than saying, oh, that was an amazing class, you're amazing, oh, what are you know, we could say, Prabhuji or Mataji, I really like that point you said about this, you know, and then and that is authentic because that's the truth, and you meant it, and you could actually have a genuine conversation after that. And the sad thing about not being authentic, especially in the circle of devotees, is that devotees can pick up on it. You know, so we think that we're glorifying them and it's all right, but that devotee 90% of the time can tell that you're doing that, and then the way that they reciprocate with you is not from a place of a genuine relationship. It's just going to be on the platform of the way you spoke to them. So be okay, thank you, and then that will be it. There won't be more conversation. But if we want a deep relationship, then, and we mean what we say, and then if we mean what we say, the reciprocation is deeper, and then we can develop a nice loving relationship. So that's why it's important to be authentic, because we're not going to survive in Krishna consciousness without deep relationships. Without deep relationships, it can't just be one relationship or two. We need to have relationships with different types of devotees, and we can only do that if we're genuine. We can, that way it will be deep, and that will be honest, that will be authentic. And this sangha of Vaishnavas, which we will create by being authentic, will take us back home, back to Godhead. That's what because it's only the mercy of the Vaishnavas that can take us back to Krishna. But then how do we get the mercy of the Vaishnavas? We've got to associate with them. How do we associate with them? We've got to be authentic. We've got to be honest. So serve the Vaishnavas and be honest and be authentic, and glorify them with what we mean. Even if it's devotees, and this should be with seniors, peers, and juniors, all three different types of devotee relationships. Just say what you mean. It takes us such a long way. And the only thing is, we'll have to think. We'll have to think about it. When you're replying to a message, it's not going to be a generic message. We're going to spend a few minutes thinking about it, but it goes such a long way. I hope that makes some sense, come up with, and I hope I addressed the question.
Yeah, you did. Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah, it made me think. In a sense, it's being personal as opposed to being impersonal. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you said it exactly. And we're in a personalistic philosophy. Yeah, we this, and actually this verse 1854, it's the transition from impersonalism to personalism. One who is thus transcendently situated once realizes the supreme Brahman. Okay, so once you can become fully joyful, you don't have lamentation, you don't have desire, you can see everyone equally, then mad bhaktim labate param, then you can attain pure devotional service. So these are the personalistic things we want to do, so that we can actually develop that relationship with Krishna. Otherwise, yeah, we could just go for the Brahma Jyoti. You know, so yeah, thank you, Kamal Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Vishaka Mataji has a question. Kindly unmute and ask your question.
Hare, Hare Krishna. I think I'm again. It's just contemplating on Kamal Prabhu's question. A similar question. I don't know. Maybe you answered it, but maybe I didn't understand. My question is like, say somebody gives a lecture or something, gives a talk, but somehow you are just not there, or maybe it didn't get it didn't like not that the speaker was not good, but it's just you didn't get much out of it. Is it necessary to say, oh, Hari Bol, thank you, or is it okay if we just don't say anything? Like sometimes it's just because one must appreciate, we have to say, or is it okay that, like, you just so there's an etiquette part of it, so if we miss out on that, would it be okay? That's my question.
So I think if we're thank you, Vishaka Mataji. So is it okay if we were in a class and we weren't fully there because we weren't paying full attention, then afterwards then is it okay to not say thank you and etc.? So I think there's no harm saying thank you, because thank you is just it is polite, and you're not exactly saying you were amazing and I got so much out of this class, because you don't know, because you were only physically there, you weren't mentally there. you're only, your body was there, but your mind was somewhere else. So you don't know what you're even, what exactly the detail of what we're appreciating. But to say thank you, because you could just, the fact is we can thank someone for being there, sharing their time to give a class when they didn't have to. And you can thank them for that, and that's still genuine because you're thanking them that they did that. You're not getting into the class because you don't know what happened, because mentally you were somewhere else. But there's no harm saying thank you, because we can still appreciate the fact that this devotee has taken their time to be there. And that is something we are grateful for. Then it's our loss that we didn't take advantage of it, but something we are. So the thing is that what we can learn actually is this attitude of gratitude. And this attitude of gratitude means what we can, if we are really conscious, and Prabhupada always said, be conscious before becoming Krishna conscious. If we are conscious, we can find genuine reasons to be grateful to someone. So it just takes a bit of introspection. It just takes a bit of thinking. And it's just taking us beyond the day-to-day robot networking hellos and sorries and thank yous that we do. If we just get into it a little bit and just take a minute or two, and we can really find so many things about everyone to be grateful about. Does that make sense, Vishaka Mataji?
Yes, Hare Krishna. It's just the reason I pointed out, because we shouldn't be duplicity. Like we should say what we feel. Like we shouldn't make it up. Sometimes just because somebody will feel good, or you just want to do it. So that's why I asked the question. Sorry, Hare Prabhu.
No, it's a very good question, Vishaka Mataji. And the reality is, if we do make it up, that person can probably tell and they won't feel good. Actually, they'll feel that they must have been quite bad because you had to make something up. So if you really want to do something good for someone, mean it. Because if you don't, thank you, Hare Krishna. If we don't mean it, they can tell. And because they can tell, they'll probably think, was I so bad they had to make something up? So if we want to do real service, let's think about what we say before we say it.
Okay. I know we are exhausted our time, but is there any other burning question before we conclude the session? Yes, Panchali.
Hare Krishna Mataji, no, it's just a comment on today's class. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. And what I am going to take away from this class is that, people can tell when you're patronizing and you don't mean it. And people can tell when a thank you is a genuine one. We all come across that every now and then, but I'm going to consciously try and practice not overdoing on my thank yous. I think living in this country, we end up saying too many pleases and thank yous all the time. But what I am going to take away from your class today is that I have to not parrot-like say my thank yous. I have to mean them better. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Panchali Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
I meant that thank you, by the way.
So did I, Prabhuji.
I know.
Very much, everybody. I'd like Divyesh Prabhuji to close the session. Prabhuji, is it possible? I don't see Path Prabhuji today.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. I'd like to thank Kanchanajba Prabhuji for all your sharing your knowledge and your time with us. You always are very enthusiastic, very humble and honest. And we also like the way you share your personal experiences. It really also helps us in our understanding. We're so grateful, and we hope that you carry on continually giving us your time whenever you can. It's always an honor and a pleasure to hear you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. I request everyone to unmute and let's chant the Maha Mantra to say thank you to everyone. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare Rama, Ram,
Rama Rama
Hare
Hare Hare Hare.
Kalpatarubhyasya
Kripasya
Kripasindhuvasya
Sindhubhya eva cha
Nam Pavanebhyo
Pavanebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Yes.
Jai.
Prabhuji ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
On Eldoret ki
Ki
jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Dhanwad Prabhu.